Thank you so much, Kyle, my man, ADEY8, for coming on the Freestyle Podcast.
Thank you.
I know we're in a crazy time, so thank you for taking the time out of your day to come onto the podcast. Hopefully we can give everybody a break from the craziness that's going on. And
it's a pleasure to virtually be here.
Yeah, man. So my first question though is, where did ADEY8 come from?
It's a good question. It's always been like a lucky number to me. It's also the last 2 digits of my phone number. And like me and my friends in high school, like, being all, I guess, rambunctious degenerates as we all were, I'm sure, going to parties, we would just like scream out 88, 88, just all that stuff. So that's just kind of like, I don't know, it was something close to me, but it also like, didn't really make that much sense. And it wasn't like the typical, like, blank, blank dubs or like, some crazy DJ name. But, I could embody that name more than I could some other name that I just made up off the top of my head. And like, also like when all my friends come see me, they're the loudest, people in the group just chanting like 88, 88. So I don't know. It all worked out.
That's freaking awesome. I was thinking that maybe you were born in 1988. And like that's because I rep 1990 hard as shit.
Right.
That's where I thought it might be going from. But that's epic, because then you have like all your friends that you were already chanting it at parties, freaking saying 88. And now they're coming to your shows and
it's like it's already a cold. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man.
So yeah, that name kind of hit home, and then it stuck. And then I tried to play it like I didn't just want to be like 2 8s, and then like I didn't want to. I tried playing around with the spelling a lot, and some of the spelling like just didn't really work out. And like, to be honest, like thinking back at it, I probably should have spelled it AYDE8, because that makes way more sense. But like, I'm also dyslexic, so like it didn't really register for me at the time. So ADEY8 was the next best thing, and that's kind of how it got stuck. And then people would start to call me, like when I'd be at shows, like people that didn't know me, they would just call me like 80. So like, I don't know, it worked out.
I love it, man.
And then I get the like occasional like is it ADEY8 or like, but I also like, I have a jersey that I rep. It's like all black, and it's got, and also like a big thing for the 88 was like, I was a huge fan of, I've always been a huge fan, I still am, of like Back to the Future.
Okay.
So like 88 miles per hour was the speed that they'd have to go. So like on one of my first mixes that I ever put together and put out on SoundCloud, I have like a an audio sample from that movie saying like when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're about to see some serious shit. And then it like goes into like, I think it's like Joyride, and like one of Joyride songs. And when I played that at like my first show, like people thought that was pretty hype too. So
that's friggin' awesome, man. I mean, you can take the, I've wanted to do the whole, how Bass Nectar has like his hockey jerseys and shit. I've always wanted to do it with soccer jerseys with the remote controllers and stuff. That's right. Like that's my next thing, because me and Chris are both huge soccer fans. But with 88, you could do any freaking jersey. And it's number 88,
I just put in an order for like, I got these jerseys made up. They were like all red with like a big ass like skull in the middle. It was pretty sick, and had about like 20 people order them. They're actually sitting upstairs, due to everything that's going on. I really haven't been able to find the time to go to like the post office and ship them on to their appropriate owners. But yeah, it's all pretty exciting. I'm excited to get them in the hands that they need to be in, and then hopefully see them, roaming around at festivals or, at my next show. So
hell cool. Yeah, man. So where are you from?
I'm from Potomac, Maryland, born and raised. I've lived in the same house my whole entire life. I went down to East Carolina for college. I was there for 5 years, did a lucky extra year.
Same.
Yeah. So, yeah, but now I'm actually back home with my parents, saving that money, working down here. I'm currently sitting in my garage, but my what I went to college for was construction management. So like, I've always been good at construction. So I kind of like built this wall and kind of insulated it. And now I have my own little room down here where I have my studio set up, my CDJs, and all that good stuff. So it's kind of like my own little dungeon that I retreat to.
Dude, I wish I had my own CDJs. I mean, Chris has the other half of the remote controllers. He's got the Denon setup.
Right. I remember him saying that.
Oh, like I love them, but like, of course, like the reason why we got them is because one, Laid Back Luke is like a big inspiration for him. That was really big when we got a what's it called, Thanksgiving Eve opening set for Laid Back Luke. It was great to like meet him and stuff and do that over at Noto in Philly. But the Denon setup was like half price Black Friday. So it was like, it was only like $3,000 to get the two SC5000s and the mixer. And then with the Denon setup, each SC5000 is 2 decks. So you have 4 when you only have 2. So it was $3,000 to get a 4-thing setup. You know what I mean? So it was like,
that definitely makes more sense.
Like we like had to jump on that.
Yeah.
And then there's like the eventual, setup that we want to have when we do live shows is that we each have that setup.
So like 8 decks.
Yeah. So technically 8 decks, but it's more we would only use them as 2 each, or we'd have 3 each. So we can have like a vocal or like like one that we just mix stuff in.
Right.
With, and then we each just have like enough space, right? Because if we do it on the 3,
right,
we're 2 people, and like Chris is thick, man, and like we're both 5'8" and under. Like he's 5'8", I'm 5'4", but we're wide. Like we take him a lot of space this way. So it's just nice to have like our own little like space and setup. So when we go to play at a place and it only has like the 3 setup, we're kind of salty. Like we gotta put together the rider and make sure that at least there's 4 CDJs and a mixer, so we can.
Right, no, I feel that.
That's
you also need like room to like move around and shit. So
yeah. Like I'm the one that, if anything, I'm on top of the DJ booth half the time, raging.
Right.
I'm engaging the crowd and stuff. Like I love that shit, man.
Like back in college, like when I was playing in college, like I put together like a small like college tour. Like when I went around to like at least 20 schools, and like one of the biggest things was like I'd give them a price, they just have the price, and I'd go. One of the like the biggest other things I was like I don't want anyone on, near, around. I just can't like focus like that. I just need to have an open space. There's not people fucking chiming in my ear. There's not girls like spilling shit everywhere. I just need space to move and do my thing. And
hell yeah, man. And with friggin' college gigs and stuff, can you play Rihanna?
Yeah, exactly.
it's like that's in the rider. You can't
let me work it in.
Yeah. Or let me see if I might have it on my USB. I gotta check.
No, I have it. I just broke my computer. I lost all my music. Sorry.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. That's like the biggest reason why Chris and I started producing, right? Because like we didn't want to do top 40 gigs anymore. Like we wanted, like, listen, there is plenty of DJs that are amazing with top 40, like with scratching, with mixing stuff in, and they're playing like 30 tracks in 10 minutes because they're doing so well mixing. And that can be really entertaining. But like we love not just EDM, like we have specific, tastes and stuff. And we know that whenever if people just leave the DJ alone, I promise everyone in the crowd will have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have that one person who's like, hey, like nobody, like I really want you to play this song. It's like, well, do you see like everyone else is having an amazing time? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry that you don't like this specific song, but everybody is fucking with it. So like I don't know what to tell you.
Right, and like especially when they request a song, that's a completely different vibe, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I might even like that song, but it's
No,
like,
it might even pop off. Like sometimes it'll
right,
pop off.
like,
Like I'm like I don't always say like, no. Sometimes hey, that's a fucking amazing song. Good choice.
mhm. Like the best moment ever though is when someone was like back when we were doing a lot more of those top 40 gigs, is when someone would come up to the DJ booth and like request something by, the only thing I can think of right now, because I'm really big in tech house, like if someone ever came up to me and was like, can you play like Please Oh Please by Claude Von Stroke, I'd be like, oh, I love you for requesting that, you know what I mean? Like, but if it was, but like back in the day, like that, not even back in the day, like 2 years ago, not even, like if someone came up to the DJ booth and actually requested like an actual electronic music producer song, like it was always, it like made my night, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was actually pretty fortunate. Like, when I, back when I started like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and then I got to college, like EDM wasn't really a thing. So like, yeah, for the first maybe like 2 or 3 years, like I had to like, play what everyone wanted me to play. But, when I started getting more serious into it and I started to like sticking to my guns and like playing what I wanted to play, and like having a good time doing it, and everyone kind of just joined in because they, and then everybody started listening to EDM music, and then I started going to all these other schools, and I was fortunate enough to play. Like I was never really like a top 40 DJ. Like I would always play EDM music, and like I was lucky enough to when I went to other schools, like a lot of the times they were they were paying me to come do it, so it was like let me do my thing. You know what I mean? Because you clearly want me to come.
Yeah.
If you wanted some guy to play top 40, you could hire, your typical dude that always does that shit.
Yeah, like a guy that would do it for free because he's in
Yeah.
your fraternity and he would like to be, you know what I mean? Like,
But not only that, like I took it a step further. Like I met these guys a while back. Great group of guys called AR Entertains. And my buddy Aiden actually works with them now. And we would do, me and Aiden, he was a DJ as well. We kind of held down our whole college scene. Like he had the lights set up. We were both, I had a board, he had a board. We were both good. So we would do like dueling DJs, we called it. So it was like, we were like two separate boards playing, you take three, I take three. And we kind of capitalized on our college market. And then we started bringing that to other schools. And then we met this guy named Drew, who was the CEO.
I lost.
He was starting up his business. What was that?
I
He was
lost.
starting
I
up
heard CEO.
Yeah, he was the CEO of his business. Like he was starting up a production company, and he had a few LED wall panels. He had stacked speakers. He had CO2 cannons and like lasers and lights and everything. So we all kind of teamed up and started like dominating every school and doing like a bunch of different shows all over the place. And now before this whole thing happened, we were supposed to go back to my alma mater and put on a big like 2,000 person show. I had him at like with like the 12 by 12 LED wall with the booth wall. We had 4 CO2 tanks. I even had like another one of my buddies that I used to work for. He's like the COO of some type of pyrotechnics firework company, and he does the fireworks and pyrotechnics for the Redskins stadium. And he was going to come hook us up with like legit fireworks and like flame shooters and like pyrotechnics at this college party.
That's freaking wild.
And now we had to reschedule the whole thing. I think the new date's going to be like October 3rd. But unfortunately, the pyrotechnics guy cannot make October 3rd because he does a separate gig during October. But yeah, so we kind of like, we took it to a whole new level of like college party because we put on this big, we didn't only like play crazy new music, but we, put on an experience that you couldn't find anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man. That's the one thing that I learned from going to shows, specifically when I saw Zomboy perform in Atlantic City at what was it called, Electric Adventure. I was
there.
Hell yeah.
Wait, when?
It was the year it was on the beach.
Yeah, I was there. Dylan Francis.
Yep.
Yep.
Machine Gun Kelly was even there. Like
I was there.
Pretty Lights. Oh man. So that was
Kygo. Woo.
yeah. The surprise guest, right? He was
The sunset Kygo. Oh my
yeah.
god.
Oh man.
What's his name coming out to sing the song like live?
Oh, it was he brought a chick out to sing Firestone.
No, it's a guy. It's the guy.
See, that's what I thought. And I was telling someone that it was that it sounded like a chick, but because it sounded different from whatever. It was incredible. And I remember
I was in tears.
Yeah, that was like it'll be like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was wild.
This summer, right? And so I'm watching Zomboy, and I have this like moment where I just like I'm like I want to watch this guy perform, and like not just like rage to the music and dance with my friends. Like I want to actually like engage, and that's what I do a lot at shows now. Like there's times where I just sit back and I just watch the performance, and I look at all the different elements on the stage and how they're interacting. And the main thing that I took away from Zomboy's performance was that he just goes ape shit on stage, like goes so hard, and like that energy just translates to the crowd. And so,
I try to do a lot. Like when I start playing and I'm performing live, like I black out and I go in, like, and people will tell you, they're like, oh, you put on a crazy performance, like blah blah blah, and I'll be like, oh really, I did? Like, do you have any videos? I don't remember.
It's so important because I know like in the genres that I produce, like you see some house DJs that are just
just bobbing and weaving,
the whole time.
Like Fisher, he's got that.
Yeah, but why did they expect, like, if you don't look like you're having fun on stage,
who's gonna have fun?
How does that translate? And like, I'm not gonna call any producers out on this podcast, right? But like I make sure that like I show them that this song is the most fun time. You know what I mean? Right, like that's what I wanna portray to them.
That also directly correlates to like when you go to a festival, you pay to go to the festival, you pay to hear the music, but you're also paying to see the performances live. Like, because you could sit home and listen to SoundCloud all day.
Yeah,
you're paying for that live experience. So if you're at a stage and you're not feeling it, and then you're walking by another stage, and the performance is there. Let's say you don't even like. Let's say it's a dubstep stage and you don't even like dubstep, but the performance is going in, and everyone's fucking going crazy, moshing and shit. Like you're gonna want to stay there and fuck with it. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
But if you're just sitting there and the dude's just like turning knobs and shit, and you could listen to that at home.
Yeah, like I was at was it Tomorrow World 2013, I think. And Flostradamus, we're walking over. We know there's a trap stage, and we're pumped, and we're going over, and Flostradamus is coming on like later, but we didn't know many of the people that were on before Floss. But we went over there, and everyone was just going apeshit, headbanging, moshing. Like there was like mad people on stage that were just like going nuts, and like that's one of my favorite things about a festival. Like, yeah, like at this point in my career, like I know most of the people that are on the lineups, but now because of that, and because I've been to so many shows and stuff, I like going to see the people that I don't know on the lineups and seeing what they got.
Exactly.
Because like a lot of them, the ones that are the no names and stuff, like I know what it's like in the industry now to get on a lineup and it to be your first performance at a festival, or you're smaller, but you're getting like the 2:00 slots at like a couple festivals and stuff, and like that's huge. It's so gratifying as an upcoming DJ and producer to get that. So that person is going to put on a good performance. They want the people the people that made it there at 2:00 to make sure they saw the whole day of the festival. They like from my perspective, those are the people that you really want to see. The big people are going to put on.
It's funny you said that, because like my first big show ever, I opened up for a fairly large DJ. Now I'm not going to say any names, but I was playing direct support in front of like 2,000 to 3,000 people, and I was scared shitless. I almost threw up like on my walking up the stairs, of course, because I had so much adrenaline going through me. And my goal, like I was one of the only openers that came with a full hour-long set of visuals that correlated to each track. And I sat for weeks with one of my buddy Aiden that I mentioned previously, and we went through and curated this visual set. And I got on stage, and I performed my heart out. Like I went up to the railing, and I was like jumping on the railing, on the mic, and everyone was having a great time and headbanging and started mosh pits, and people like a lot of people came up to me afterward and they said, hey, I enjoyed your performance better than anyone else's. And, that really resonated with me. It was like, yeah, you put on a show, and I was like,
it's the best compliment.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially knowing how much time and effort for weeks in advance that you're putting into it. Like that it's the best feeling when people really appreciate all the hard work that you put into it. Because some people, the remote controllers, like branding, we play off of it. Like people think DJs just push buttons, and we're the remote controllers. So we say in our bio, like, we literally just push buttons. Like, obviously,
right.
We produce our own music and stuff. It's way more than all that. And just like you said, like if you have pyrotechnics and visuals and everything, it has to be on the same page. Like, people wonder why there's some of the biggest artists have pre-recorded sets, or like parts of the stuff is pre-recorded with the transitions and everything. It's like,
yeah, it's because but at that point, like, to me, like that whole topic irks me a little bit, because like he's just press play and that's it, and he's pre-recorded a set. Yeah, he did, but he made it. He made that set. That's just like you listening to a mix on SoundCloud. But you don't complain about that. And then another thing is that, yeah, that's true. He's probably standing there, but he's putting on a performance, and he's doing these things, and he's jumping around and jumping up on the DJ booth and coming down to the crowd, and all his visuals match exactly in time with each beat.
Yeah.
And would you rather him stand up there and play live and just stay to where he's at playing and mixing? Because it takes a lot of concentration,
Oh yeah.
Especially with all these like triples and double drops everyone's talking about and all that shit. And would you rather that, or would you rather and then the like the visuals are kind of like offbeat and shit, or would you rather everything smack on beat, in your face, fire exactly when it's supposed to be, confetti exactly when it's supposed to be? It's a performance. You're paying to see a performance.
Yeah, and if any of that is like a little bit off, the amount of hate that performer gets.
Oh, his visuals were so off.
It's like a millisecond off. Like, there's so much. Like, people are just sitting there with so many things, not just with DJs and producers. People are just sitting there like waiting to point out the one little mess up.
Yeah.
Like the whole cancel culture and all this stuff. It's like, man, when you're that big and you've got a team that needs to all be on the same page to make sure that the whole performance goes so that everyone there has the best time, so that also the next time that if they're the biggest person on the lineup, and that person is now on another festival where there's not a lot of people that are well known. Well, now some of those people that saw that performance are going to be like, I need to see them live
again.
So then they go to that other show with not as many people that are big names on it, but then they get exposed to all these other people that aren't as big. And now all these people have gotten to see the performances of because there's so many, maybe because we're in it and like it's what comes up on my feed the most. There's so many DJs and producers now, and everybody's got something to bring to the table, and that's why I love that there's so many festivals and so, like more and more are popping up, and like all like give everybody the opportunity, and like people want the whole experience, and it's not just about you know, sometimes with clubs and stuff, it can get too like chin uppy, and but when you have like a festival, like everyone, it's a different world. Like everyone is about peace and love, and
When you
it's
like
beautiful.
going off the topic of like performing and putting on a show, like the show that I was telling you about that we're gonna have the pyrotechnics is a show at my fraternity, like back in my college, that me and another kid, when I was a freshman and I had just, you know, got initiated into the fraternity, we kind of came up with, it was, you know, a paint party. Cause like down in North Carolina, nobody's heard of like, you know, at the time, nobody really heard about EDM, like all that shit. Like, so a neon paint party with like EDM music was an absurd idea, but we took it and we ran with it. And we had this like, almost like this garage almost, but it was called like the party room. And it was like this big, like, you know, huge ass concrete bunker where we stuffed, I don't know, probably at the time, like 500, 600 people in there. And it grew each year. So like my last year at school, I wanted to make it, you know, the biggest it had been yet. So I partnered up with those production teams. So we had an LED wall, we had CO2, we had confetti, we had lights, lasers, the whole 9 yards. And I put together a lineup. I had some rappers. I had some, you know, it wanted to be like a festival. We sold 1,200 tickets, and we did it in our backyard under a big ass, like, you know, canopy tent that we like rented. And going off like the whole performing and production side, like I set up a smaller stage in front of this massive stage that we had created. And I like got this giant piece of like, it was like this, I don't know, like 45-foot Theta Chi flag, which is what our fraternity was, all black. And we strung it up on this, I like rigged up this system where like you started up, it was like up top. So it was like I pressed play and the beat started going, and I kind of announced myself on the microphone. And then when the beat hit and the CO2 cannons went off, we dropped the curtain. So it was like a curtain drop, and the paint started flying everywhere and everyone was going dumb. It was like,
that's epic.
People will remember that. That was a legendary party. Like people will remember that, you know, for their entire day at school and probably, you know, far beyond that. So like going back again this year, I wanted to add another element, of course, just to, you know, give it that one extra, that boost, you know, top in the last year. And, you know, we were shooting for like 2,000 tickets sold. We actually, I think we've sold like 600. They're kind of sitting in limbo right now though, just because of, you know, everything that's going on. But yeah, I mean, I always, you know, I take weeks planning my set, and people are like, "Oh, you plan yourself? You don't just play live?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I used to do that in college. You know, when I was at a club, I used to, you know, mix live. But it's not like I'm recording my set. I just have, you know, what I'm gonna play and where it goes, and it all fits together like a puzzle. And I do that, and I practice it before I play, strictly so it's almost like muscle memory. So then in that I can take a step back and work on my performance while I'm playing live. You know what I mean? And people are always like, "Oh, your energy is absurd up there," and you know, that's because I know exactly what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I look like an idiot down here, like jumping around and.
Like the better prepared you are, the more you can do, and
at this level that I'm at, that's important. You know?
It's so important, and not just the more you can do on stage, but the more comfortable you are. So your demeanor's down, so you're more confident, so you put on a better show just because of that little switch is flipped in your head where you know what you're gonna do, and you like get excited about it too, right? Like you're like, oh, they don't know what I'm about to do next, and it's gonna be so sick. Like I planned this out, it's gonna be so good. I'm so pumped, and like that. Coming up on stage with that energy instead of coming up on stage like, oh shit, like, oh man,
I don't know how this is gonna go over. If you know it's good, they're gonna think it's good.
Like it's like, oh, I kind of have this playlist to go, but I don't really know where I'm gonna go with it. And then you're but then again, like
almost half the time, I've had to pull some like audibles like last minute, like hop on my
computer. Always, right?
Oh, this is definitely not the right vibe. Abort.
especially at a time when you're maybe doing a more than an hour set, and you like that. That's the stuff where you like Chris and I, we love being able to have like a 4-hour set where we just go back and forth, and that's when we get really creative and stuff. And you know, when we're doing like parties with our friends and stuff, like we can just do it. You don't need to plan for something like that.
No, not at all.
Like
just fuck around
that,
and have a good time. And sometimes
yeah.
some crazy shit, you know, comes out of it.
Right. And
like, oh, I gotta take note. I gotta use that later.
Right. You find a transition that you weren't expecting because you're just like scrolling through playlists while, like, for me, I have like a half-hour break where Chris is freaking doing stuff, and I can, like, you know, put stuff in a cart and like kind of not plan it out, but be like, I haven't played this song in forever, and like oh, this vocal would be insane with this, like stuff like that.
Let me ask you a question. You still get nervous, like, before your shows?
The more prepared I am, the less nervous I am.
I find it that, like, you know, no matter how prepared I am and how prepared I know I am, like, I still get so nervous. Like, but as soon as I press play, it's all gone. It's just that build up. Like, you know, if I'm direct support and I get there early just because I have to do a sound check, and I'm still there for like 3 hours, and I'm just like standing there waiting, watching, like, I'm like, oh fuck. But as soon as I get up there, it's all gone.
Yeah, and my favorite part about all of that is, like, especially at maybe at like a club that I've gotten like a couple of the not maybe direct support or even like the 10 o'clock like first opener slot and stuff. My goal is to like meet as many people there, and not
absolutely network.
Yeah, not even just like the people that are there to see the show, but like all the people that are working there and stuff.
Yeah, or like just random people that are there for their boy who's opening up, like, you know, at 10. It's like, hey, like, you know, this guy's killing it. It's, oh yeah, it's like my boy. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know, I hope you enjoy my set. I'm going up in, like, you know, an hour or two. And they're like, oh, for sure. And then they always come up to me afterwards. They're like, oh, like, nice job.
Hell yeah, man.
And you meet new people. That's what it's all about.
Dude, my favorite is hanging out with the bouncers. Especially because, like, look, I'm 5'4", like, so these bouncers are usually huge, and like just the feeding off of them, like, back and forth is always great, and then like
at Noto, I love the bouncers.
Right, like the whole crew there, and then you know, we all, you know.
What's his name? Johnny. Right? Johnny, he's got I think his name is Johnny. He's always got like the fresh outfit on and like the nice shoes. He's kind of shorter. Like,
he's jacked.
He's jacked, yeah.
He's always, yeah.
I love that guy.
He's incredible. He's like the head VIP.
Yeah, I think so.
Like host and stuff. And then Dre, that's always rocking the booth.
Dre.
Yo, talk about someone who will always give you the most honest feedback ever. Dre, you there's no bullshit with him.
My relationship with Dre, like, my first show there, he barely said a couple words to me, but, you know, afterwards he said nice set. And then I started selling like a shit ton of tickets. So like I played direct support for Slander at that Hijinks after party, and I sold like 160 tickets, because like that's how many of like my friends were going in like to Philly that weekend. And I had always asked him, I was like, hey, like, you know, every time I played there, which had been a couple times before this one, I said, hey, like, you know, like, how about that mic? You gonna give me the mic this time? And he was like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. And that one time, like at Slander's after party thing, I was like, so how about that mic? And he was like, Kyle, you sold 160 tickets. I don't give a fuck what you do. I was like, yes.
Dude, that's what it's all about, man. And that guy, he still thinks that we should change the remote controllers name to like just the controllers or something. And he's like, he comes from like the marketing, like business side, like he's got a degree in that. So like, I really, really respect his opinion. I just, there's something about it. Like, I think I like that it's like almost stupid. Like, I think there's like, it's fun. Like, who cares? Like there's so much things that we can do with it marketing wise and stuff that I just,
yeah, I mean, like, and again, like, if you enjoy it, then why does it matter? Because it's all about you feeling comfortable. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Like, there's some absurd names out there.
Yeah.
Some really stupid names.
There's so many names that when
you remember them because they're so stupid.
Exactly. And it's like you see that on a list and you're like, what is that?
Yeah, I gotta check that out. The Kung
Like,
Fu
I
Kid.
want to see what that is. Like,
The red baboons. Like, what is this?
yeah, like there's like I think there's one crew. It was like 3 monkeys or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget.
Like I've had a few people tell me that I deserve a name change, but I don't know. Maybe, but nah.
Bro, there's too many. Everyone has an opinion, right? Like I respect Dre. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I respect his opinion a lot. But there's so everyone has an opinion, and like whatever feels right here. Whatever feels right in the heart is what we got to roll with at the
Like
end.
I even had so I was backstage at Moonrise. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Moonrise.
Yeah.
But I've been going there for like 6 years, and like this last year, or five or 6 years. This last year, I was fortunate enough to get my hands on an artist guest pass. So I was, of course, since I had been there for so long and so many times, I was more, how do I put it? More concerned with going backstage and meeting as many people as possible than watching the actual festival.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily enough, my girlfriend was fortunate enough to get one as well. So I wasn't like leaving her. So it was kind of like we were sneaking around, backstage. Yeah. And Bonnie and Clyde got off, and Bonnie came up, was walking by me, and I said, hey, like, that was a sick set, and blah, blah, blah. We got to talking, and my girlfriend was chatting her up. I love having my girlfriend around because, like, she always gets them talking, and then I kind of chime in and stuff. So it's like, it's a double trouble. And then she was like, oh, like, what's your DJ name? I was like, oh, it's ADEY8. And she was like, I was like, oh, come on. And she was like, it's just 2 8s? I'm like, no, it's ADEY8. And she was like, oh, okay, that's a little bit better. But
see, also, I mean,
I was like, but here's the thing. You're going to remember that name.
Yeah, because you had a reaction to it.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of just being like another like name.
Yeah.
Like
dope sauce.
Or even just like a person's name that's not really that memorable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that happens a lot more in house music and techno and stuff. It's just the dude's name or the chick's name. I don't want to, seem we're gender. We accept all, It's it happens a lot more with that, but like that's the biggest thing. Like when someone has a reaction to the name, it's more memorable. And
positive or negative.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had someone saying, "Oh, that name sucks." You know what I mean?
No. What is it? Not no news is good news. What's the other one that I'm thinking of that I can?
Any feedback is good feedback.
There's I don't know. It whenever you hear someone like something bad happens, but it generated this much exposure for them.
Any promotion is good promotion.
Yeah, it's something like I don't know, but whatever. It's not important. It's if there's a reaction to it, that's what's important, right? It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, and as long as someone comes away from that experience with a positive interaction with you, then it's all good.
That's another topic. I know a lot of people that are like, I don't know how to say this, but there's a lot of people that are like very concerned with how people like their music. And going one step further, it's like, would you rather have someone like your music and not like you as an artist? Or would you rather making a good impression on someone and they like you as a person and as an artist and, fuck with your music, but it's not their favorite music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this is like a big reason why I want to do this podcast in general. So there's a lot of people that I grew up with. They don't listen to Tech House.
Yeah.
They listen to Bass House. They support me because they know me and they like me and they want me to do well. They don't necessarily like the music, but if they see I put out a song, they know that buying it is on Beatport is going to help me. They know that streaming it and sharing to their story is going to help me. So they'll do that. So in this way, I want people to be able to meet the artists, and if they like the artists, then go check out their music. And even if it's not their favorite genre, but now they like you, so they want to support you. Like
Right.
that's just
That, and that's also like one of the reasons why I talk to as many people as I can, and try to leave a good impression and get to know them as not just like people at an EDM show, but like actually like ask them questions about who they are, and then that in turns always builds a good connection with them, and hopefully I'll get a follow on SoundCloud and a couple of listens, and I've had so many people that I'm still connected with that I just met, because like I've been up to Philly and I've been all the way down to South Carolina. I've played at a lot of different places, Virginia Beach, DC, North Carolina, South Carolina. And I still, I still am friends with some of these people on Instagram, and I still get the occasional like, DM after I post something saying like, "Oh, this is sick," can't wait to see you again perform. And I'd much rather be, a good person and a good, performer and a good artist and a respectable human being than a total asshole and have really good music.
Yeah. 100%, because it comes out in conversations, like people will be like, yeah, their music's sick, but then that person
I met him and he sucks.
Yeah.
I've had a few
like a shitty person.
I've had a few of those, because like, I've really liked an artist and I really fucked with their music, and then I met them as a person and I was like, like I don't really like your music anymore.
Yeah. Like I'm definitely not going to say any names on this, but there was an artist that like I was real, like it was a big inspiration for me to even like start doing music and DJing, and getting that opening gig was like, it was sentimental to me. And
of course,
like, to with anything, like I'm opening, I'm on the same bill as you. Like we're you might have this big following, you might have done this, but like I don't want to say equals. What's the word I'm looking for? We're shit.
I know what you're talking about.
We're not coworkers, but that's more what I'm going for.
No, I know what you're talking about.
I can't. This is what I'm
I was gonna say associates, but that's not the word either.
I mean, God, we're on the same page, and I'm a DJ, guys.
We're peers.
Peers. There we go. See, there's two DJs having a conversation, not two doctors, not two scientists. Anyway, so thank you for that. We're peers. So like, I would like to have a conversation and at least say, like, it's dope doing this. And when there's no interaction at all, or when you're treated like you're not.
Well, you're preaching to the choir, man.
Bro, and so this person, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at person. I'm not gonna say.
Yep.
This person, like now left a sour taste in my mouth, and so now
I'll take it that step further when you're done.
Yeah, so now like I see their stuff, and like that's the emotion that's attached to that person now.
Right.
So I don't want to support as much, but before that I was like, but that's also me putting expectations on someone else, and that's I've heard one of my favorite sayings is expectations are predetermined resentments. So it's like I kind of, I don't want to say I manifested that, like I didn't but like it was I still have a sour taste in my mouth from that person, but I also got to have empathy, right? Like this person
probably tired, they were probably on tour, they probably have done 60 shows this month, and
they're from a time zone that's 5 hours ahead, and they
I completely understand, but like I said earlier, like taking that a step further, I always told myself from the first show I got, like at a club opening up for a big DJ, if I'm ever fortunate and lucky enough to be in your shoes, I'm saying this to myself, man,
mm-hmm.
I will make it a part of my deal that, is I have to speak to the openers and at least thank them for performing and taking the time out of their day or week or, whatever. Thank them for wanting to be on my show, and maybe, talk to them for just shoot the shit, talk to them for a couple minutes, make them feel that they're not like, openers.
Welcome.
Make them feel like they're part of, like they're part of the group.
Like they're the people who are openers.
Because it'll mean so much to them. You know what I mean? Because I know it would mean so much to me. And when the very occasional, I've opened up for a decent amount of big artists now. Very occasionally have I ever gotten, a couple words out of them or a
Mm.
thank you. I don't think I've ever gotten a thank you.
There's been one DJ that I can really say went out of his way to like appreciate what we did, and we now like still talk to that
Exactly.
DJ and stuff, and they don't need like, he doesn't need to talk
Actually,
to us,
now that I think about it, there was one, and I drove 5 hours to be there, and we talked, and we kind of made the connection afterwards about we were both sober for like X amount of years, and we really connected that way. And what's up? Are you sober as well?
5.5.
5.5. So I'm coming up on 2. So
My man,
yeah,
I knew I felt some positive energy in your spirit.
we'll get to that in a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, dude, like I definitely I want to remove that barrier. Like, oh, it's the headliner, it's blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm just another person just like you guys. And I've been in your shoes, and I wanted to thank you. And I want to tell you you did a good job. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Because like I have random people hit me up on Instagram all the time. Like, hey man, like I've been following you. I've been, watching your posts. I've been watching your growth. I'm really impressed. I just wanted to reach out. Like, I'm thinking about DJing. I'm thinking about producing. Do you have any tips? Do you have any tricks? And I always make it a point to, I want to say like 99% of the time, like go out of my way to like type up a big paragraph and tell them everything that I know. Cause I know I would appreciate someone telling me that back when I was in their position. I've been doing this for 6-7 years all by myself. There's been very few people that have been helping me along the way, and, shout out to them. They know who they are. But for the majority I've been doing my own booking, my own driving, my own, promotion, marketing, all this shit. And just having someone tell me what I needed to do, when they need to do it, and how to go about doing it would have been priceless to me back in the day.
Hell yeah.
And that's why I go out of my way to like type up these big paragraphs and say, good luck, because I really hope you do well. And if you do blow up, then I at least can say that, I was there at the beginning, right when the idea hatched, and hopefully one day we can, work together. And somebody told me this like right when I was starting out. They said, if you don't pass on the music, the music's gonna pass.
Damn. That was an epic moment, and you cut
doing
out
that as much as I can.
Fuck,
did
that
you hear
was
what I
an
said?
epic moment, and you cut out. It was, if you pass on, and then it cut.
I said, if you don't pass on the music's gonna pass you up. And that really hit home with me. So like I try to do that every chance I get.
Dude, it's the one of the stories that's kind of resonated with me is when do you know who the comedian Bill Burr is?
Bill Burr?
Yeah. He tells this story about one day he was coming home. He lived in an apartment like from a gig or whatever, and this guy stopped him. And he's like, I'm thinking about. It's like, you're a comedian, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm a comedian. He's like, well, I'm thinking about becoming a comedian. And Bill Burr could have had the reaction of like, all right, another guy that just wants to be a comedian, Yeah. But then he saw this guy develop, and then that guy that said, I'm thinking about becoming a comedian, winds up selling 4 days in a row out at Madison Square Garden and gets an award for being like the best comic of the year or whatever. And Bill Burr got to present him with that award. Like, is that not the greatest, like, most beautiful, like, because Bill Burr is one of the best comedians ever, and so it's Sebastian Maniscalco, and so is he. He's you don't sell out 4 nights in a row at Madison Square Garden with being some nobody, and it like that's just like it gives me the chills, like thinking about a moment like that. And if there's ever one thing that I've been taught is to always give, like always look for opportunities to give. And if people are reaching out to you and asking you questions, like,
it means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And that's dude, like that.
Yes.
That like getting those messages on Instagram or like, text or whatever, like it literally means the absolute world to me. Cause it means that I'm right where I'm supposed to be and I'm affecting people. Like like I'm sure we'll talk about this in a little bit, but this album that I've been working on for about a year now, it's going to be my debut album. I only put out one track so far. There's 7 tracks in this album. I've been working on it for so long. And people are like, how do you think it's going to do? How do you think it's going to do? It's like, I don't care how it does. You know, of course I want it to do well, but everybody could hate it, but at least I made it. It's my work. It resonates with me. Like, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram post, but every song has a story about it. And I could get, you know, or I could get thousands and thousands of plays and nobody likes it. But as long as like that one person reaches out to me and says, hey man, I really like this and it really resonates with me and you really hit home on this one, like I would be like, all right, my work here is done. On to the next project. Like I would be content and satisfied if that was the case.
Hell yeah, man. Like I on one of the last things that I talked about on my Instagram was getting our first song to 1,000 plays. Like there's so many, like I know so many people now that have, you know, have had 3 million plays on a song or 100,000 plays on a song. And like that stuff, like that was a huge benchmark that I'm like, just the fact that anybody hit play on my song one fucking time, like that means so much to me, because like Chris and I were sitting in here for hours on end.
Yeah.
You know, like
sleepless nights.
The freaking time that comes into like just thinking about the time that goes into one song in a studio, then thinking about all the times when you're laying down at night and you're like, I don't know if this shit's gonna work. Like, I'm freaking struggling. Like,
and then you sit down again like the next day and you're like, damn, this shit sucks. Delete.
Yeah, like fuck. There's so much like people, like it's portrayed as you know, DJs have the best job and like it's all fun and it's all like there's so much.
Oh, it's so stressful.
There is so like you talked about it, man. Like being your own driver, being your own manager, being your own marketing, being your own promotion, being your own everything. That's what we got to do.
Let me read you something. So I started a website, you know, for my own shit, just to kind of keep track of everything. And I've been doing like little, like I'm not a good writer at all. Like I don't consider myself a writer. But I did like a little, and this is like super off base for me. Like I don't really do this type of shit, but I did like a little blog. And the time when I told you that I drove down to
the 5-hour drive.
5-hour drive, or like I think it was even 8 hours down to South Carolina from Maryland. I wrote this as soon as I got done playing. It was at like 4:00 in the morning. I said, the not so glorious life of an aspiring DJ. And I said, people are always commenting on your posts like, oh, like sending me DMs, OMG dude, you're killing it. Yo, looks so crazy. You're having the best time of your life. You know, I was like went on to saying like that they were wrong. I am having the time of my life. But it's funny to me because everyone on the outside sees the edited videos and the pictures of the cool moments, but they don't see the life of the constant battles and struggles just to do what I do, you know, just to do and be where I am. You know, at this current level, music producers, promoters, you know, DJs, ticket jockeys, managers, booker, marketer, driver. That's all. Those are all things I'm doing by myself.
Yeah.
You know, constantly getting rejected, constantly telling people that getting people told me I'm not good enough, hitting up people I've never talked to in years just to see if I can sleep on their couch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting on stage getting off stage, you know, covered in sweat, asking for the bartender for the bottle of water, and she charges me for it.
Yeah.
You know, cramming studio sessions in after work, 30 minutes, you know, to an hour until I physically pass out because I cannot, you know, stay up any longer. And all for that, and it all is all worth it. You know, staying in the shitty motels, you know, with cockroaches everywhere and stains all over the bed sheets. It's all worth it for that moment when you get off stage and just 1 or 2 people come up to you and say, hey, I really appreciated your set. You know what I mean?
It's man, all those things that you talked about, like culminating to you being able to walk up on stage to play for that sometimes 45 minutes
and having the people, I also put this in there, but having the people, when you hit that low pass filter, sing out the song louder than the speakers,
Oh,
That is like a drug that you could never find anywhere else.
mhm. It's
And
there's
I'm sure that it'll hit so much harder when it's my music. And
yeah,
I hope I'm lucky enough to get there one day.
like the feeling that we get on stage, like that is absolutely the best high that ever came out of anything, you know, that I've ever done in my life. I totally relate to that. You know, it's been, you know, 5.5 years since, you know, I made that decision to stop doing and really focus on not just on music, but on my own mental health,
Physical health.
my own physical health, like
Bro,
all of it.
I
Like
lost 60 pounds. 60 pounds, dude. I didn't think I was like overweight, but like when I went to college, it was the freshman 15, it was the 2-year 20, it was the 3-year 30, it was the 4-year 40, it was the 5-year 50, and then a couple extra pounds at the end there. But yeah, dude, so I got, if we want to get deep real quick, I got DUI my last year, going to my last year of college.
mhm.
And I was 60 pounds overweight. I had a beard. I had long hair like I do now, but maybe even a little bit longer, scruffily. And I was in the holding cell after I got my DUI. I was passed out at a red light in my car. And then it turned green and I didn't go anywhere because I was passed out with my foot on the brake. I could have been killed. I could have killed someone else. Thank God none of that happened. But I was sitting in the holding cell, and they gave me my phone to call my parents. And earlier that day, before I had even, you know, checked my phone or had my phone, my mom sent me a picture of myself when I was in high school, smiling ear to ear, skinnier, like, you know, I probably same way I am now, just really happy. And I got upset because I saw it and I clicked off the phone and I could see my reflection in my phone and I didn't even recognize myself. And, you know, this is when I was sitting there, that had been probably my 7th time in a holding cell because I had been, you know, in so much trouble before when I was in high school and all these other things. But, you know, in that moment, I thought, you know, what am I doing with my life that's, you know, affecting anyone else, if not negatively? And in that moment, I said, you know, today's the day that I'm going to get sober. And, you know, a year and a half, almost 2 years later, I've been dead sober. And yeah, the beginning was tough, you know, going out with friends and going to bars and shit. But my music production has been 10 times better. My relationships have been 10 times better. You know, the day after I got out of the holding cell, actually probably not the day after just because I was so fucking hungover, but the day after that, I started working out like religiously, like every day. And I lost like 60 pounds, and I was probably in the best shape of my life like a couple months ago. I had since, you know, started working a full-time job, so I've been struggling to find time between that, producing, and, you know, traveling before all this to really find my groove and get back to working out. But, you know, I'm still the same weight, so that's good. At least I'm maintaining. But yeah, it was a big decision for me. It was a big part of my life. You know, I probably drank a bottle of Jack Daniels every night by myself alone in my room when I was at college because I lived alone.
Mhm.
I was, you know, all mixed up with a bunch of other shit too as well. And it's probably, that DUI was probably the best, worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. You know, I've had nothing but good things happen to me since then. And all before that, it felt like, I don't know if, like I said earlier, if you've been checking out my Instagram posts at all, but there was one about, you know, bad luck and shit like that. And I just felt like the world was out to get me, you know, constantly, but really it was myself, you know, fucking up my own shit. So, and I'm definitely better in a better mental and physical state than I have ever been in my entire life. You know, I've never been someone that struggled with depression, but, you know, near the end there, you know, it was getting to that point, especially because I dislocated my shoulder, injured my shoulder for the 2nd time, had to get surgery. That kind of threw me into like a hole there because I couldn't even put on my own fucking socks, you know, couldn't put on my own clothes. So couldn't take a shower without, you know, cringing in pain. But yeah, I'm definitely right where I need to be. And people ask me now, like, you know, if I went to a football game or a basketball game or something like that, and or a baseball game, you know, it'd be great. It'd be great to sit down and have a hot dog and a beer. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be like, oh fuck, like I had this beer, I need more beer. You know, I don't think I'm at that point anymore. I'm very, you know, relaxed with it. But people ask me like, why haven't you? You know, you have free drinks all night at some of these clubs. Like, why don't you drink? You know, I was lucky. Got out of the DUI, got a, you know, probation before judgment, thank God. But my response is always because things are going so well, and I'm, you know, focusing on music, and that's just a distraction. And right now, in my mind, it's a very saturated market where I'm at in my DJ career, and everybody wants to be a DJ and a producer. And my thoughts are, if I'm spending every weekend, which I do if I'm not playing a show, and every weekend in this room working on my music and honing in on my craft, and, you know, the next guy is out getting fucked up with his boys at, you know, the local club or bar, then I'm just putting in the more work, and I want it more than some of the rest of these guys. So, you know, hopefully it's been paying off so far. Hopefully it continues to, you know, go on that same direction, and I'm going to continue to stay sober as long as it takes.
Man, that there's so many, you know, parallels to what you said and my story. It's thank you for opening up and sharing that, man. That's what this is. That's what Free Yourself is all about, man. That, like, seriously, like, that's a term from 12-step fellowships. Like, it's a whole thing to be able to get vulnerable and open up like that, and really show people your why. You know, like,
I'm not afraid to talk about it. Like, it's not like I'm going around like gloating about it. Like, hey, I'm sober, but like, you know, I'm not afraid to be ashamed of myself for something that I'm doing to better myself. And I've actually met a lot of people like Janni, one of the other guys in the group, in the Shocker Fan group, and incredibly, you know, he's sober as well. And we connected on Instagram, and we still talk. And, you know, I've been, you know, we almost FaceTime every day. We're really good friends. And like I said, that show where I drove, you know, 8 hours away to play, the headliner was sober, and that, you know, we made a connection that way. And it builds a lot of stronger relationships than you think, you know, having sobriety, you know, under your belt, and there's a different level of respect when you meet someone.
Yeah. I mean, just the simple fact that you're a professional treating your craft like a professional. Like, you're going to a place where people are going there to get fucked up, and you're saying there and
it's a job, it's a profession. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm not going to stand there and get fucked up on the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, you will not make, like, I know I'm not going to make a fool out of myself because I'm fucked up at some gig. Like, look,
and that's happened when I was in college. I used to, like, playing at bars and shit. Like, I blacked out, you know, a couple of times and don't even remember what I was fucking doing. And the people that I was playing with, you know, had some shit to say about it. And, you know, I felt like an asshole. And luckily, you know, I didn't do poorly.
It's
Let me, can we take a pause? Like, can you edit this part out?
Yeah.
I gotta go take a piss.
I'll take a piss too then. Let's do that. Right. Yeah.
We'll come regroup. Give me a second.
While we wait for Kyle to get back, I just want to take this time to kind of say to anybody listening, you know, if you're struggling with mental health or addiction or anything like that, it's really it's okay, and you're not alone. And reaching out for help was the best thing that I ever did. So, also, just for today, that's the biggest thing with this. Like, there's so much, like, I don't, you know, put out on my social media or anything that I've dealt with anything like this. And it's not for fear of, like, look, we're in a business where people come to our shows, and a lot of them come to get fucked up. Right. And it was,
yeah.
I didn't want my whole brand to become about, this is a guy who is clean, who doesn't do anything. Like, I didn't want that to happen. But, like, I've never like hid the fact that I'm
yeah,
like,
but you're also
not
not like, you're also not like throwing it in people's faces.
Yeah, like I'll never like when people like I have friends that are wild, right? And like they are people who have their shit together and they're not throwing their life away and they're not spending every last dollar they have on it and they're not
Right,
they're
right.
not hurting all the people around them like that. Anybody listen, there's there's drugs, right? There people say there's good and bad, right? And I don't really think it's anything like that. I think the circumstances around
Why are
the
you using it?
chemical that is done, and the reasons behind why people do certain things. Like, look, I was getting fucked up and shit because like I wasn't happy. Like that's what it comes down to. Like the at the core of it all, I wasn't happy, and I did anything I could to raise my level of happiness or to numb so I didn't feel the sadness, right? Like that's how it was. And now like I have developed many different coping mechanisms, and really the biggest thing is just talking about it, right? Like that when I find someone, or when I'm close to someone, like I'm open and honest communication about how I'm feeling is like the best way for me to get over anything that's going on inside my head, whether it be a resentment, whether it be just like any level of depression, any level of anything like that. It's just like talking about it, and that's the key thing that I want people to know. Like the more we hold on to it, the deeper the hole, the
Yeah, I
deeper the
agree.
hole I go into.
This is probably a personal question. You have to answer it if you don't want to. But did you go to like AA or like NA and go through the program?
Yeah, like I still go to NA meetings and stuff. I'm open with anybody that it's funny. Like I have friends that'll ask me like, you still go to that?
I've
Like,
actually had friends that like so. I went, but like I didn't really, I didn't really think it was for me. And some people it's for not. Like my dad. My dad was a bad suffered from alcoholism, but that was before I was born. He's been sober, as long as he's probably been sober as long as I've been alive. It's only 24 years. He never went to a single AA. He did it he did it by himself. And I don't think that I had an addiction, as more of I just enjoyed it and I could do it. You know what I mean? And I had the means to do it. When I stopped drinking, I didn't go through any withdrawals. When I stopped, doing everything else, I didn't go through any withdrawals, which I was fortunate enough to, not have.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I kind of just I turned it into this mindset of me wanting to better myself was more than me wanting to get fucked up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I did go to my fair share of meetings and I did enjoy it. Did I go through the steps? I don't really think so. Maybe I went through a couple, but I've had friends ask me to like take them to AA because they've had, they think they have a problem, and I've been more than happy to go with them. And I would go tomorrow if someone asked me to go. And unfortunately, and I probably will go at some point, maybe during my 2 year, to get that chip, just because it was a very like those chips were very, um, you know, reassuring feeling that I was doing something right. You know what I mean? Just like a small piece of plastic. It's kind of funny, but it means a lot to the people that are in it. So
Absolutely, dude. Like this is it's tough for me to talk about, like to get real deep into the stuff that I was doing and
yeah, I
like
mean, we
that
don't have to
type of
talk about
stuff.
that. I don't want to talk about
No,
that.
like it because like it wasn't a DUI, but it was something else, and that's that I saved for my whole story and my whole everything. Like I saved that for the rooms of
Right?
NA,
Yeah.
and like that's where the service work. That's why I was like, that's why me and Lewis, when we first got on the phone, it went from a 5-minute conversation that we were just
Well,
having
all
about
right.
to a 3-hour conversation, because like he told me about his experiences with his family and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like I got deep. Like I this is why the podcast, this is why everything that I'm doing, like the more I accomplish, the more I know it's just like hope for someone else that if they you know kind of commit to that sort of lifestyle, if they have a problem. Like I'm not everyone needs to be freaking clean and sober, right? Like that's not how I feel at all.
And it's like to also think like when I'm at the club or something, hey man, you want a drink? It's like, no, I'm good, I'm sober. Like, oh, like I'm so sorry. Like no, you're good, dude.
Yeah,
yeah, like do you want me to go like drink this somewhere else? Like, no, bro, you're fine, dude, you're fine. I'm not like you know a disease that you can't like
right. No, but the thing that so that same festival that I was talking about, Electric Adventure, that we were both at and stuff, which is like I love that, you know, the more I get into this, the more people I meet, the more times I find out that we were at the same place, you know.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Electric Adventure was actually, you know, I was 10 months clean, and I was terrified that I wasn't going to be able to do what I love with music. Like when I got clean, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Like go back to those environments and be able to stay clean. And when I had 10 months clean and, you know, I had a group of 10 friends that were going to Electric Adventure. They're like, Ryan, like we just miss you being there. And, you know, we want you to come. And I was like, look, if I don't try, I'll never know. Right. And so I went to Electric Adventure, and I'll never forget, like I'm sitting there, like I go through the whole first day, and Pretty Lights is the headliner the first day, and like I'm watching Pretty Lights play. One of my favorite songs by him is his Fly Like an Eagle edit, and he's playing it, and I'm like overcome with emotion, and I'm crying. I'm literally crying watching Pretty Lights, and I'm like, I can fucking do this. Like I can be clean. Like I'm around all these people, and I've had the greatest time of my life today at this festival, and all the energy, like this is the drug. Like it wasn't
yes.
This is the drug. And cause I had my best friend there, my best friend since third grade, who's seen me go through it all, right? Like it all. And he was there. I had my like 3 best friends from college, and like their girlfriends, and like other close friends. And I was just immersed with love and support for being clean.
Right.
And I was just like overcome with emotion. And I was like, I can do this. I can recommit to being a DJ and a producer. And like, it's just about finding out how to do it. Right. Like before, it was like I was getting fucked up and getting bar gigs and like wondering why I wasn't, you know, getting the big shows and all. Like come on, like I'm so good. Like I should
be better than this guy.
Yeah, like
that's such a negative way of thinking.
Oh man, and
let me ask you a question though. I don't know what it's like for other people, but for me, I've struggled with being on the opposite end of shows. Like when I'm at shows and I'm performing, I'm fine. But when I'm there, I just haven't been able to. I guess I'm more inclined to stay in the back and enjoy it than I am to like be moshing in the pit at the rail, like squished up against the rail, surrounded by like thousands of sweaty people. Which also like really it upset me and like disheartened me a little bit, because like I was the guy that was like, you know, having a great time in the middle of the crowd, like vibing with everybody. But now I'm like, I'd rather be sitting upstairs on the second floor, standing, just enjoying it than being in the shit. And I do miss that. And like when I went to Moonrise this year, like I was very hesitant to like, you know, I don't know, I just felt like, you know, claustrophobic. But like when I was drunk, I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I have been struggling with that a little bit, but I think that's totally fine. Like I don't need to be the guy anymore. I've had my fair share of riding the rail and all that stuff. You know, I'd much rather sit back and relax and appreciate what all is going on and the people around me and the music that's being played, and dissect the, you know, the stage experience, and like you were saying earlier, like soak it all in. But I do miss it, you know, I do miss that grit and that, you know, in the filth type shit. But
now I absolutely see where you're coming from, and like I'm very, very much the same way. Like first off, I've I don't want to say I've matured, right? Because I'm a child, right? I'm still
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like I'm fucking, I like to poke like I'm whatever. We'll get past that part. It's not that I've matured. It's that my perspective
Has
has
changed.
changed,
Yeah.
right? Like before, the fun was the being blacked out in the middle, sweating all over like have
Yeah.
that's what the fun, quote unquote, was, because it was an escape from the life that I didn't like, right? Like the sadness, the depression, the not amounting to what I thought I should be. And so being in there, that was the escape, right? Now my perspective is like the music is what it's all about. Like
Right. Right.
it's all about the music for me now. And the more that I sit back, first off, the more space I have, the more apeshit I really can go. Right? Like I'm dancing my ass off in the back with
Right.
all my friends. We all have our own space. Like I'm running around, and I get the whole view of everything, right? Like I can take notes on how everything is going on, like the whole performance, and I can study that it's like I don't want to say it's like a class, right? But like
No, but it is.
it's I'm learning from the people who are.
It's just like when there's a movie and there's a big actor putting on the role of like um someone that's super famous that's still alive, or someone that's super famous that's dead. That person will go meet that person. The actor will go meet that famous
Yeah,
person and dissect and study exactly how they sit, exactly how they talk, like Leonardo DiCaprio, or like
mannerisms,
and mannerisms, or like Freddie Mercury, like when that with that Queen movie that just came out. I'm sure that the main character watched every film that he could possibly find of Freddie Mercury,
oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
his mannerisms on stage is just like that, dude.
Yeah.
You're studying and dissecting the exact movements, the exact words that that when they talk at the right times. You know what I mean? And everything else that's going on, how they interact with their crowd. That's a big thing that I've been trying to incorporate. Like I think I do fairly well, but like interacting with the crowd is super important. Like
Absolutely.
whether it be like getting them to clap or like getting them to put their hands up or whatever, like because then they feel a part of it. They feel a part of the experience.
Dude, and what's really important that I really, it's the open-mindedness to go to other genres, right? And see, like I learned, I make bass house, tech house, like that's the music that I make. I learned from Zomboy how to be on stage, someone who does not make bass house, tech house. And but also to that point you just made, a friend of mine, Kosha Dills is what he goes by. He's a rapper. I went to see him perform, and every single song that he has a crowd interaction thing with it.
Oh yeah,
So everyone there is a part of the show.
it's a part of the show. Yeah.
And when I saw that, I realized how important and how engaging that is. Also, like, look, I'm not playing the 6,000 person venues right now. Like I'm playing the smaller venues. So to get the smaller venues and all the people there that are engaged, bring them up closer to the stage, right? You don't want the gap in between the stage,
Yeah.
where everyone's kind of awkward and not sure if they should get in and dance. Like to engage them and to bring them closer to the DJ booth is an art in itself. And my knowledge from seeing my man Kosha do this stuff as a hip hop artist is where it opened my eyes to be like, this is another way to improve the performance. This is another way to set myself apart from another artist that's playing. And if someone ever came to me with asking about like, how do you, I always, I'm having trouble with that gap that's right there. Like
Yeah.
what are some things that I can do? Like I'm going to tell them like all the things that I do.
Yo, hold on.
Yeah.
Pull up this gap.
Like even bringing stickers or Monopoly money and making it rain so that
Yeah.
people come right to the front to pick it all up, and then you're engaging them, like little shit like that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned like big venues versus smaller venues. I played at some pretty big venues. I played at, I've been lucky enough to play in decent sized crowds. But one of my favorite venues that I played at was actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was like as big as a house. It was like very small house party vibes, and it's had some pretty big artists roll through there as headliners, and it doesn't have the greatest like audio setup. It doesn't have the greatest lighting setup, like something you would typically find at like a fraternity house. It was legit a house party, but it had those old school house party vibes where everybody, it was a very small venue, so like maybe like 200, maybe 300 people, and everybody was just like, I was in the crowd, like that's how close it was.
Yeah.
Like they could reach over and touch me, like that's how far away from them. And I felt like I was trying to like bring them in and be a part of the experience. And that's probably still one of my favorite venues today.
You said Charleston?
Yeah. No, I was sorry. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, it was called Surge.
See, I've never been to shows in down in North and South Carolina. I've been to plenty of shows in DC. I've been to Echo Stage, and I've been to smaller venues in down there too. And there's one
like U Street.
I'm not even sure the name of it, but there was one time where we went to a show, and it's kind of the vibe that first off, the ceiling was low. It was only like a 10-foot ceiling, and there's like pillars.
Probably U Street Music Hall. Probably. Did you go down like a really long like straight staircase?
Now I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not while I was sober. This is back in
Point proven, yeah.
I'm not quite sure. This is like, and this is 8 years ago.
That sounds like
so it's already going to be a little fuzzy, let alone the extracurriculars that were involved there. But it was such a sick show that we like a great experience that we had in a smaller venue, and
very intimate. It's way more intimate.
That's exactly the word I was going to use. It's a more intimate experience, and
I find I've made some of I've gotten like some of my best followers and fans from those types of events. Like in Virginia Beach, there's Peabody's, and it has like these big ass rafters, like where you can like get up on and like hang off of, and like dude, that place has so much energy. It's insane. Like it's pulsating through the whole entire venue.
Hell yeah, man.
And it's it's not huge, but it's decently sized, and it's a great time.
Have you played anywhere up in Jersey at all?
Not Jersey, but I played at Noto, so that's as close as I've gotten. But so like recently I've been thinking, like now that all this like whole pandemic thing is happening, for the last like couple months ever since I graduated, I've probably opened up for like about big like major artists, I should say. And I've had an amazing time, all the way up from Philly down to North Carolina. And I've met some incredible people, but I really I think I'm at the point in my career where I need to take a step back from that, as much as I love doing it, and as much as like it is benefiting my career, because like now I have got like a nice little, roster of people I've performed for and shows that I've performed at, and really focus on taking my production to the next level, because I feel like I'm never going to make that jump into the festival industry if I'm always the opener. You know what I mean?
So Chris and I have this.
And then if I stop playing, and I'm releasing good music, there will be a bigger demand for me to come perform.
That's exactly the conversation that Chris and I had. Like it was getting to a point, like doing those opening gigs.
I'm not making much money.
If any.
If any,
Yeah.
if I might even be losing money
Yeah, yeah. Like
from gas and, hotel rooms.
absolutely, man. So taking a step back, making sure the production, and just like, listen, I don't need to, people engage more like on a post where I'm on my back porch like grilling burgers than they do on a post where I'm up on stage. You know what I mean? Like it's not about for me it's about building the brand around the music and making sure the music is the quality is coming up, like because
Right.
we got into this because we have a different ear for music, right? We care about it so much more. So when our production level gets up to that level of our interest and our knowledge of music, and that's when when we're finally happy with it, we have to work even harder, right? Like that's
Right.
what it's going to be. And like and there's it doesn't matter if I'm going, and like there's so much time that comes into all those shows, and it's like a 2-day thing, like the
If
whole,
not a full weekend thing.
yeah, like and think of all the hours that I could spend in the studio, or even just like engaging with people.
They're normally like sleepless nights. Like
Oh yeah.
you get off, like you get done playing, and then you want to see the headliner because you want to be there and support. And most of the time, a bunch of your friends are there, so you don't want to just like be like, all right, peace, thanks for coming. You know what I mean? You want to hang out with them, spend time with them, thank them for coming, and then you get back to your wherever you're staying, and it's already like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're too juiced up, off
Yeah.
adrenaline to go to bed, and then having to wake up early, or for me, end up waking up early the next morning and driving back home.
Yeah.
So like you barely get any sleep, and then by the time you're home, you're exhausted. So like I can't even think about putting any music down because like my brain is fried,
Mhm.
and I don't want to say wasted a whole weekend, but
Yeah, it's
but
definitely.
like I said, like going off that, like I want to take a step back. I'm not going to play shows because that's just not in my nature. But being very selective with what shows I do pursue
Mhm.
and like how many I do pursue. Just kind of keep it, tight.
Yeah, like you said, there's just so much, not even just the weekend that you're doing it, right? There's so much preparation that goes into each thing because we care so much. We want that to be like such a good experience for everyone that comes to it, because let's face it, like I want people to remember our name. I want people to be like, come away from that show and be like, I need to go see them again. So I we're prepping so hard and doing so much that comes into it. There's not much production like actual music production that comes in that week leading up to the show. Like it's all about like prepping for that show. And listen, if I had a big show like that every week, like I don't know how much production I'd be getting done with all of that. Now that's also a big thing when it comes to bigger artists, and we can get, I don't want to get into who I might have heard is ghost produced for who and all that, and like,
Yeah.
but like who cares, like they,
It's exactly like songwriters.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
some
it's the
Taylor,
same it's the same thing.
Taylor Swift, Kanye, Elenium, like singer songwriters write the music, and then like I don't know if you've heard the show Songland. It's like relatively new. It's kind of like The Voice, but it says for singer songwriters, and they have someone in like Imagine Dragons or like John Legend or like someone as like the guy who's there looking for a song, and he picks a song at the end of it. Like they work with other songwriters and producers to make that song where it needs to be, and they pick a song and it's their song. It's exactly like what songwriting ghost producing, exactly like songwriters.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And there's I want it to be where someone hears a song, doesn't know it's by me, but then is like, oh, this sounds like it's the remote controllers. It sounds like, and then being like surprised, like because they hear it in a set or something. And so the only way for that to happen is the more I work on our stuff, the more we develop a sound. And the more we develop the sound, the more we develop the brand behind it. And the more we develop the brand behind it,
the more people hop on.
The more people will
buy into it.
With it. Yeah. So I'm so incredibly grateful for all the gigs that I've gotten and all the people I've been able to open for and the people I've been able to meet. And but that's not what's important to me right now, especially during this quarantine. Is like
I've had, dude, my production has been tenfold. I've been able to, like that collab I sent you the other day. Like I started that the day before at 7 p.m. and I was already at that point, which is unheard of for me. Takes me months to get the song at that point. But I guess ever since I finished the album, things are starting to, like, I'm finally getting around like a year and a half producing. Things are starting to click more. My workflow is getting faster. You know, I've made little adjustments to where, like, you know, if I have an idea for a song, I try to get it out as much as I can into the DAW, like regurgitate it, like almost like, you know, throw it up into the DAW. Mm-hmm. And then I'll come back to it and then start picking away at things or removing things or adding things. Cause at least like the idea is like, it's got like a skeleton and then you gotta give it the meat and then slap the skin on it. You know what I mean? Like,
hell yeah.
And then, so like another thing I want to talk about is like goals. Like a lot of people think in like long-term goals. Like, oh, I want to play at Ultra, I want to headline Ultra, like blah, blah, blah. Like, to me, that's just not like feasible to think about. Like, I think in like small term goals, like short term goals, like, you know, get 1,000 followers on Instagram, you know, get 1,000 followers on, you know, SoundCloud, get X amount of plays on SoundCloud, play at this venue, get on this lineup, you know, produce this amount of, like, you know, release this amount of songs, you know, and then like above that, I have, you know, bigger goals, you know, less obtainable in near future goals. Like one of them would be this has been my goal for a really long time, is getting to the point where I can tour, even as an opener, but I can bring like my videographer and my photographer, and we can all sit and we're sitting pretty and we're making enough money. You know what I mean? Like enough to me. Money
to be able to do that,
to be able to do that without losing money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and like the whole, like, you know, the tight knit group is there and we're all doing it together. And to me, like I will be satisfied. You know, of course I'm going to strive to continue to get to the next step and always want more, because, you know, that's just how I am. I'm not going to be content, but I'll be able to like take a breath and be like, okay, cool, we're here. Now I got to focus on the next thing.
So writing down my goals, whether it be, you know, day, week, month, 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, year, 18 month, like I could drive myself nuts, but I can also set like, okay, today, here's 10 things I want to get done.
Yeah.
If I cross 10 things off my list that I got done.
Well, it also releases like dopamine in your brain when you cross something off a to-do list. Yeah. Like sometimes I'll even write something down that I've already done just to cross it off.
Dude, like,
I'll start adding random shit.
It's as simple as, you know, the first couple are like make bed, make coffee.
Right, yeah.
I know I'm going to cross that off the list, but it gets the day going. It gets it started. Yeah. And something like exercise, like especially now in quarantine, like, look, I'm working out every day. Like I'm doing different. I'm a power lifter, like that. I do identify as that. I've learned that that's kind of like not, that in itself is tough to do, because what if something happens and now I'm like losing my identity with it? Like there's a whole other, like, that's a whole nother conversation that I actually had on another podcast and stuff. But doing things differently and figuring out different ways and writing these plans out. And the more I'm doing them, the more the long-term goals not only become more attainable, but the more they change. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I might be saying like I gotta get this and this done today, and the goal of doing this and this is because, you know, a year from now I want to do this. Well, the more I do these things, the more I do them and cross them off the list, the more doors open, and the more my brain is now engaged in thinking of different things that I can do. So that goal might have changed for a year from now to something else, but I'm not disappointed in that. It's because I've expanded in what I think I can accomplish and what I can do. And the more I get done, the better, the more, the more self-esteem I get. Like, you want to get more self-esteem, like do esteemable things, right? Prepare yourself to like put yourself in position to succeed, right? If I think of like, if I put 30 things on my to-do list and I get 10 of them done, I'm gonna feel shitty about it, right? Because I only got 1/3 of the things done. But if I put 10 things down on the list and I get 8 of them done, that's 80%. I feel good about that. But also, if I get 10 of those things done and then I got 5 other things done, and I can afterwards write that down and be like, yeah, like I got that done. Like it's like I'm like it's just little things like that. And so when people, we take this to the whole lifestyle, when people talk about like starting from, I don't work out at all, I don't eat healthy at all, I don't have any goals right now, all it is
you're already setting yourself up for failure at that point.
Yeah, like, so when people say like, I need to switch up my diet, all right, change one thing. Do you drink soda every day? Do you drink 5 sodas a day? How about you drink 2 a day? How about you take out 3 of them and put them in with water, or you switch it to diet and 3 of them are water, and like little things like that. Once that becomes a part of your life, now you can add something else.
Yeah, because then it's habit. Then you, like, when I changed up my eating when I was working out, like, I mean, I went balls to the wall. Like, I told my parents, like, I need chicken, I need rice, and I need broccoli. That's it. And that's all I ate for, like, and like, the occasional like salmon or like the occasional steak. But like, I switched up a little bit, but it was all healthy food cooked with like minimal, salt, pepper, like all that shit, and stopped drinking soda, changed to like sparkling water just because I didn't drink at the time, so I needed something to like, and so I found a really good sparkling like water that I drink religiously now. It's like, it's the only thing I drink basically.
LaCroix? Is it LaCroix? Is it LaCroix?
It's called Clear Splash. Shout out Clear Splash, because like,
Clear Splash.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's 10 times better than LaCroix. It's a lot sweeter. It's a lot sweeter. Like, if I ever meet you, which I'm sure I will one day, I'll bring you one, and you'll thank me. But it's like, it's almost like a mindset though, because. And I stopped eating sweets. I stopped eating candy. I stopped eating cookies, and then when people were like, hey, do you want a piece of cake? And I love cake, you know what I mean? It's like, nah, I'm good. I don't eat sweets. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Even though like, I just tell myself I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't eat it. So then I don't eat it. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's so much power.
The mindset.
Anything that I say after I am or I do is true. So like, if I say I'm never going to get this done, like that, I can't say that. I can't say things like that. Or it's like, I might not finish this today, but let's aim to get it done by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. Like with music, especially. Oh my God. like Zeddy Mago, like, look, Ryan, it's probably going to take an average of about, 20 hours in the studio to finish a song. That's like I know that going into it. Like, that's if everything goes right and I'm grinding and like the workflow is going well. Like, that's what we know when Chris and I, are sitting down and doing music. So like, setting the small goals, like, all right, let's get this lead done in the next 20 minutes. Let's get this bass done. Let's give ourselves 10 minutes to do this, because we make bass out, so we've got a lot more experience with the certain basses that we wanted, and then saying like, all right, let's give ourselves 3 minutes to pick a kick. Come on, how many times do we cycle through these kick samples?
It was the same with drinking too. It was like, hey, like, do you want to drink? It's like, no, I don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I've convinced myself that I'm not having that drink because I don't do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Or
man.
if I was like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, maybe another time. But then I'm like, man, like,
Very different.
do I really want to wait? Like, can
Mhm.
I just have it now? No, I mean, I totally see what you're saying.
It's switching that mindset, and that, like, I'm not the I didn't come up with the anything that happened. Anything you say after the words "I am" is true. Like, that's a quote that I've seen somewhere from somebody. I there's a lot of motivational like stuff over the past 5.5 years, and stuff that I've been diving into that I really love, and anytime I can take a quote and kind of cement it as like a part of what I'm doing, and to make something in my life a little bit easier. Like it just, any way I can put it into my own life, it helps. And um man, I can't explain like the journey that you go on when you go through something and you don't turn to the drug, the alcohol the first time. Like when a new thing happens and you don't have that to go into, like the amount of growth that comes from that instance is.
Whether it be something large or small. Like, I remember
Mhm.
the first time I went out, I stayed home, like, in my room. Like, I stayed home for like
Yeah.
at least a month by myself. Like, didn't talk to anyone. And my friends were like, "Hey, man, you want to come out?" And I was like, yeah, like, I'll come out. So I came out. Everyone was getting plastered. Everyone was doing it, and I was just standing there like, "Oh my fucking god, what am I doing here? Why am I here?" And like, they're like, "Hey, like, do you want to drink?" I'm like, "Nah, good. Like, I think I'm good for today." You know what I mean? And then like leaving that night, although I went home early just because I couldn't handle it anymore because everyone was plastered and it didn't even make sense for me to be there anymore because I couldn't understand anyone.
Yeah.
But going home on the way home from that, I still remember that night too. I felt very satisfied and accomplished with myself, and
Mhm.
to me, it rendered in my mind that I could do it. You know what I mean? And I could stick it out, and I could stay true to what I planned on doing.
Hell yeah, man. That I mean, that's the My Electric Adventure freaking. You know what I
All
mean?
right,
Like
right?
it's the same. Like that wasn't the first time I went out with 10. Like first I went to dinner with one of my best friends from college who was visiting me because I went to college, Westchester University. Like it's like an hour and a half away from me, and he's from Allentown, PA. Like one of the first times that we just went to a local restaurant around here that is mainly a bar. It's like a sports bar, and like he had a beer, I had a water, we got food, and like that was my first like exposure to like,
Right.
okay, I can go out to a place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Phew!
it's not like the end of the world if a
Yeah.
friend says, "Do you want to go get, wings?" and it's at a sports bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
And
I was
you're
like,
you're
all right,
and you're,
all right,
sta- you're staring at the beer and the condensation's like dripping down the glass,
all
and
right.
you're like sweating.
It's just I made so many of these things out in my head to be so much bigger
Yeah.
than they
But
were.
then when it happened, like, I made peace with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, I'm like, all right, this is it. This is how it's gonna go down, and I'm sticking to it.
And who knows? All I know is that today I'm not doing anything. Like today I'm not going out into this crazy quarantine
Yeah.
world
I mean,
to go find anything.
even if we weren't in quarantine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Day by
all I
day.
know, the only reason why I've gotten this much time is because I've always only focused on today. I don't look further than when it comes to because people's heart, like I still in my head sometimes flirt with the weed and stuff, and the weed. I sound like I'm freaking 50 years old. So like
Reefer.
I flirt with it because like look, like I can at any moment I can you know glorify any of the stuff that I had done in the past, and like look, I know where it took me, so right now like I ain't got time.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't got time today. Listen, I woke up, I had cosmic feedback, I had a podcast with you, we got the strategy session tonight, I got to work on my own music, I got to work on my own stuff, I got.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still gotta record that live set I was telling you about. I got my dad's birthday dinner. I got the live feedback section. and I gotta send over this. I gotta wrap up this collab on my end and send it over to the next guy who's working on it. So there's too much to think about. I mean, like I barely have time in the day, like on a work day. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get to work about 7 o'clock. I work until 5 o'clock, so I'm basically there for like 5 hours, or sorry, 10 hours, 10-hour day. And I come home, I'm exhausted, but I march my ass down here. You know, I change into some better clothes because I'm wearing like a monkey suit, and I normally wear black and all black, and that's it. And I'm wearing like, you know, collared shirts a whole. But I march myself down here, and I lock myself in this room, and I don't get up until, you know, go eat dinner, and then, you know, come back down here, finish up what I'm doing, and by the time it's, you know, 12:30, and I gotta wake up the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, I don't have time to think about. I guess it kind of takes me to another tangent that you know, I feel like I haven't lost a lot of friends, but I fell out of, you know, a deeper connection with some of my friends ever since I got sober, which, you know, does accept, you know, and ever since I started focusing 100% of my time that I'm allowed to, due to the fact that some of my time needs to go to work. But being, you know, down here by myself, working on the music, and not going out with my friends, you know, I do miss it. I do feel sorry, or I do feel bad that, you know, when they hit me up, I don't say yeah. But hopefully they do realize that, you know, this means a lot to me, and I think they do. And I know that, you know, if something ever comes out of this, they'll definitely be there, as well as they have been, you know, to support me. And I just, you know, I feel like I'm not missing out. I don't have like fear of missing out. I don't have like FOMO or anything, but it does upset me sometimes.
Listen, when you get into this new life that you're building for yourself, you find out first off who your true friends are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
People that really do care about you genuinely. And plus, I'm sure those same friends are going to be so much more pumped to come out on a night when it's your show and you have a free VIP table for them, and
right.
You know what I mean, like, or if it's, you know, at a festival and you've got, you know, your 10 tickets to give away to your friends and they're backstage, you know, you got all that's the stuff that, you know, we got to remember when we're in the studio, and you know, the fifth week in a row that we've been hit up to go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and we're like, I can't, I gotta get this done.
It's not that it's just I can't, because I have gone out sometimes, but it's I don't enjoy it anymore.
I see where you're coming. I know where you're coming from.
It's not, let me rephrase that. It's not that I don't enjoy being with my friends, because I love my friends to death. It's that I just don't enjoy going out anymore. You know what I mean? I don't enjoy going to the club and standing there like an idiot. I don't enjoy, you know, going to the sports bar and watching the game. I was never really big into sports anyways, but, you know, still, it's just like the concept of being there and being with your friends. I love my friends to death. And I say all the time, I say, hey, look, if you want to come over and sit in here with me and bull, you know, and maybe even, you know, tell me what to do on a track or something, like, because they don't know how to produce, but still, like, I'm like, my doors are always open. But yeah.
Listen, you know, it's been a long time for you that you've been clean, and so, like, I'm not taking anything away from that, but you're still growing into this new person that you've developed. Like, I know for me, it was a long time before, like, I really felt comfortable, like, going out with my friends. Like, now I've come to know myself so much more than I did in the past. And the connection that I have with my friends, the relationships that I have with my friends is so much deeper that just no matter where we are, that just that spending time is so much more valuable. So it doesn't matter to me where I'm at with my friends. Like, some of my absolute favorite memories with my best friend are the nights where I go over to his house where him and his fiance live, and we just play FIFA for 5 hours.
Right.
And we get like our favorite pizza from the place. Shout out Menino's Buffalo Chicken Pizza. You know, the best buffalo chicken pizza in the world. And I get that. I bring that. I stop at Halo Pub and get the best ice cream. That it's not a it's not a bar. It's an ice cream shop. And and we have like those are some of the you know. I can think of like 4 separate times where I specifically got, Halo Farm freaking ice cream and Menino's buffalo chicken, and just went and hung out at his house and it, laughed our asses off, like just like in tears, like just spending that time with each other. And it also, like, going out to Buffalo Wild Wings and seeing the Conor McGregor fight. Like, that was freaking, I mean, like, shit like that. You come to you'll.
And I don't think it's a matter of like me being early in my sobriety. I think it's more of a matter about me being so laser focused on, I know what I want, and I know how much time it puts in to get it. And like me being so focused on producing and wanting to get to the next level of that aspect, and needing to put, like, for myself, just needing to put in the time, because I barely have a time in the day, that much time in the day to get it done anyways. Then on the weekends, I have all this free time that I am trying to make up for the time that I missed during the week.
Yeah.
I think it's just that, when I get to that point where I feel like I'm secure, or like I feel like I'm making enough of an impact, then I'll enjoy myself. You know what I mean? Like I it's almost like I'm putting like this cross on my back, like, for myself, that, like, I'm not.
You're willing to sacrifice the time now to put
it's like when I'm comfortable, then like, let's have the fucking best time in the world. And
and just something that I've in my experience over the past few years, it's I also need to find balance. Like, I've got, my 2 brand new beautiful nephews that are, a couple months old. I've got my niece that's 2 years old. Like, if there's a time where, like, there's never a time where when my niece comes over for the one time a week where I can't go and I can't sacrifice my time, the 1 hour to go spend.
I guess like, I'm still trying to find that time of, like, balance, because now I got a new job. I just got a promotion within that job within, like, the first 6 months. So now, like, I'm working more hours, and I still don't even know when to work out in the day, because, like, like, if I wake up too early, which I would go work out, go to work. By the time I get back from work, I'm gonna be wiped. And then I went out, like, and then if I came down here and tried to produce music, it would sound like garbage, just because, like, my head's not clear as it should be. I guess I'm still trying to find the balance. Yeah. Like,
exactly. And as soon as you find the balance, there's going to be another wrench that's thrown in, and it's going to be, you know what I mean? Like, that's just it's dealing with life on life's terms. And
then, like, now I got, like, Lewis, and he's, like, always asking me for, like, shit. And I'm like, dude, like, yes, I'll do it, because I love you. But, like, God, dude, I'm exhausted. I'm constantly exhausted.
And look, the more that I've put on my plate, the more I've been able to get stuff done.
Yeah. And, like, not to mention, like, I got this album that I've been working a year on. Let's talk about that for a bit.
Hell yeah.
So let's shift. So I started producing about 1.5 years ago. And I started this song. I had no clue what the title was going to be. I had no clue what the vibe was going to be. And then it kind of molded into this mid-tempo thing. So I kind of took that and I ran with it. And then that's kind of when Rez started becoming popular. And then I saw Rez a bunch of times live. And I actually met her, as well as, like, Rez, Jaws, Kayzo, Drezzo, Zed's Dead, Ghastly. Like I met all these guys. I was lucky enough to go down to a festival in Texas to meet some people that I've never met before and stay at their house. And because one of my buddies knew them, and now we're all like really good friends. We still talk all the time. And we stayed at the same hotel as like every artist. So like Slushy, like all these people. And they invited us to like this little like after event like in like the gazebo in the back of the hotel. And like I was literally overwhelmed with emotions because like these at the time like Rez and Jaws were like my favorite artists, and they were so cool, so nice. And of course I was blackout wasted making a fool of myself, so like thank God for me getting sober, because like I hope to God they don't remember me if I ever meet them again. You know what I mean? Like that's how bad it was. Like I'll probably, if I met them again, I probably wouldn't bring it up. That's how embarrassed it was. Like I was. And so then, going off like meeting Rez, like, and like loving that vibe, I kind of wanted to take it and run with it in that direction, like the type of production that I was doing, like the whole mid-tempo. And then all of a sudden, I came out with my name, ADEY8, and then all of a sudden there was this unknown DJ 1788L coming out of left field with like the sickest fucking grimiest glitchy futuristic like shit, and I was like, damn, like that hit so hard. Like I definitely want to, like, that's a big inspiration for me. And then I kind of took my love for like, I used to be in like a rock band, kind of took my love for like heavy metal and try to incorporate it a little bit. And then then I had this project They're Here, and it was sitting in my my folder for like a while, and it didn't really go anywhere. So that's when I started to like, about like 3-4 months in, I started to like get on YouTube and started watching a bunch of videos. I guess I'm sure we've all done.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like endless hours of videos, and then it's remarkably like as soon like about 6 months, or about like 6 months in, as soon as I got sober, that's when I buckled down and started producing a lot. And then just like little things here and there, they never turned into a song, just like testing out certain things, certain sounds, sound design, certain rhythms and all that shit. And then all of a sudden I had this, this verse, this like, 8-bar verse. And then I watched a YouTube video that was like, you can take an 8-bar verse and you can turn it into a whole song. You know what I mean? So like, that's when I started to finally cultivate a song, which turned into the first song of what I thought at the time was going to be an EP, 4 songs. And then as those songs progressed, I would start new projects that kind of matched the same vibe. And then, lo and behold, I had 5 tracks. So I was like, why not, let's keep going. So, I finally got to 7 tracks, and I was like, all right, this is cool. Now I have enough for an album. So then I started looking back at my life and all the experiences and kind of like how I felt during the songs that I was producing and where that inspiration was coming from. And it turned out like each one of these songs had like a direct meaning to what I was going through at the time. Like I grew up in a, Christian household, Christian relatives, and I went to a private Catholic middle school, or like lower school, and I didn't really fit in. And then I went to like a public school, and like it was a really preppy high school. So like I was, wearing like Vineyard Vines and like seersucker clothing, and I just didn't feel comfortable like, in my own skin at that point. I college, and that's kind of when I was like, fuck it, I want to do me. So then I basically went like a massive shopping spree, like, bought all this like these new clothes that I thought, had the ripped jeans and all that shit. And I started wearing that, and I felt super comfortable with myself, and that's kind of, how that all cultivated. So like a lot of these songs were about like I don't know if you've read some of the long ass captions that I have, but who actually, like, one of my friends who's like a really good writer has been helping me write them. I'm not that good of a writer. But like just the thought of there being like a omnipotent force looming around you, and like the feeling of like bad luck, or like the world's constantly against you, or like being like this puppet on like a string. And that's kind of how I felt, you know, wearing in high school, conforming to what everyone was doing and being all preppy and shit. You know, I just felt like, you know, I was like this puppet. And being really good at sports, being on varsity, like that's like, I was good at it. Yeah, it was cool, but it's not what I wanted to be doing. And lo and behold, I have 7 tracks that I like, and they're mine, and I feel really good about them. Will everyone fuck with them? Are they at the production level that they should be? Are they mixed and mastered perfectly? I don't know. I won't be able to tell until people listen to it. People might shit on it. I don't know, but it's my story that I wanted to tell, and I feel really good about it. And hopefully, you know, when I release it, hopefully it does well. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world, because I've already started like, you know, 6 new projects that I think are 10 times better than every song on the album. So hey, it'll be cool to see that growth. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to share those songs even more than I am this. But like, you know, the songs on my album were like my baby, and the song "They're Here" was that first song that I was telling you about. The first song they ever made. Of course, it sounds miles different than what it originally did, but it still has the same vibe and a lot of the same elements. I just kind of upgraded it to where I was at the time, production wise. And a lot of the songs sound very different than they originally sounded. You know, I've made copy after copy, like
version 350.
Yeah. Different, harder drop. But it was an incredible experience, and I learned a lot from doing it. And then going off into the marketing side, like I wanted it to be this big grand thing, you know what I mean? So I had my friend fly out from I forgot where she was at the time. I think she was in California, but she flew out, and we met at this old place that I used to work at called the Haunted Forest, where I used to chase people around with chainsaws. And that's kind of also like, I used to dress up, like put all the makeup on, and act like, you know, like a demon ghoul. And that's kind of where the inspiration "Enter Darkness," which is the title of the album, came from. Like being that everybody has a dark side, and that acceptance or balance. That's kind of what the meaning of the album was meant to, you know, convey. And we went out to there, and I told my old boss I was coming out to take a photo shoot, and he was like, "That's fucking dope, let's do it." And she came out, and I got all fucking ghouled up, and we went out there, had a blast. It was fucking freezing. And she I don't know if you've seen them, but I think they're pretty sick pictures. And everyone's like, "Yo, dude, just drop this album already. We can't stand the promotion roll up is too hype." Mm-hmm. So it was, and I sent the album off to get more of a proper mastering done by some friends that, you know, were more inept to be able to do that type of thing and give my music justice, because I don't think I would have been able to do that at this current moment in time. You know, I'm definitely working towards that, but shout out Drew, my boy. Yeah, so I got them back, and then I contracted some art, and it's been an incredible experience doing this, you know, all on my own, putting together the pieces, the puzzle, and the promotion, the captions, the art, you know, and seeing it all come together. Like the other day, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I started crying just because, like, it's all coming together so perfectly that the music better back it up, because like if it just sucks, then I'm gonna be like, "Ah, damn, like all this hype built for nothing." But
well, for everyone listening, I've heard, you know, some of his music that is not gonna be on the album too, and the quality is freaking there. That's one of the first things that I was telling you when I heard your music. Like, the hardest thing is the ideas, and like, just from everything that I've heard from you and everything that the stories behind everything, like you've got something.
Brian, it goes deep, man. My stories.
Your heart is all out on the table with this, and like that to me is worth more than any. Like the people that are following, the people that are listening, and the people that like your story and everything that you've been putting out, and just from what I've heard here today, like it almost does it. I don't want to say it doesn't matter what the music sounds like, right? But I do want to tell, like, because I know you now, and because I've heard all this stuff, like it just I'm supporting it no matter what. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and anybody that's a producer will tell you, like, the first song they put out, they're almost embarrassed to show anybody.
But then again, like I can definitely I've already like thought about it. Like if they do suck, like I'll just VIP them like in a couple months, like when I'm or like in a year.
Yeah, you get.
And
but
then,
it's about you think of all. Forget about just the music part. All that you've learned, everything put together on this journey that came together to get you to this point where you're going to release.
And I also think that it's also helped me build up a little bit of a brand, like this whole dark, people were calling me like the Dark Prince or like, and stuff like that. And I thought that was pretty cool because like,
hell yeah.
I've always been that type of person. And like,
and you got black hair and like the porcelain skin and like you can always embody it.
And you can take it and run so many directions with it. Like I've already, like between you and me, I know this is going to be on the thing, but I've already started brainstorming my next project, my next bigger project. Aside from all these singles that I've been showing you personally for feedback, I think the next project is going to be a four song EP called Necromancy.
You're gonna fuck people up.
And it's got like kind of like the one that you heard on the big feedback session. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like like heavy glitch, but it also has that weird like mid-tempo eeriness to it. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. I really enjoy making that type of music. Like I'll show you a song real quick, and I think something that, and I'd love your help with it, something that I haven't been able to crack the code on yet is remixes. And I know that's like one of the first things that people have done, but I haven't done a single remix. I've made around, I don't know, like 10 songs now. I haven't done a single remix, but I really want to crack into that because like I heard this remix the other day of this, hold on, I'm pulling it up. Do you know who Slayer is?
Like the
you
metal
play
band?
Guitar Hero?
Yeah, like the metal band Slayer?
Yeah. All right, so listen to this. I don't know if it'll come through all that great, but we'll try. I saw this remix of Raining Blood, and I was like, yo, dude, this shit hits so fucking hard. Like, I want to do something like this. So like here, I don't know if it'll work, but it's mean, right?
God damn.
Yeah, you can cut that out.
I was not expecting that.
Like that shit slaps. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I want to be able to do. And I found a song that I kind of want to do it with. And I don't know if you've ever heard this song before.
I only heard the vocal cut through.
It was like disrespect your surroundings. It's an old school like heavy metal song, but like I thought the concept of like doing like heavy metal like flips would be so cool, and like also like be in brand. And
look at what Solomon King has done.
Exactly, yeah.
It's dubstep is the heavy metal of EDM. Like my one buddy, he used to, like, my best friend since third grade. He used to trash Skrillex so much, but he loved punk music and fucking and mosh pits and all that, like System of a Down and all that. And I'm like, once he understands that they are parallel, like he'll love it. And now, he grew to love Skrillex, obviously. Some of the music that like, Timmy Trumpet does 140 to 150 beats per minute stuff, but it's 4 to the floor. Yeah, he's come to like love that type of stuff, like hard bounce and shit.
It's funny you mention that, because when I first originally started going to like music festivals, like and like I'm sure you know as much as me, when I started listening to EDM, it wasn't called EDM, it was called techno.
Well, yeah. So,
And like I would listen to like lighter shit, but as I started going to more festivals and going to more like um concerts and raves and shit, or I guess I shouldn't say raves because I don't think I've ever been to a proper like
yeah.
like rave. I guess I have, but um like I've grown to like be so much more obsessed with like the heavy music because I always had that like heavy metal influence background.
Mm-hmm.
That like I could go to a fucking festival and I'd walk up to a stage and they could just like straight up be like, "Bah!" And I'd be like, yo, this is dope. Like me and my friends would be like, what?
Yeah, man, dude, you're so. I didn't even think about that. Like back in the day when electronic music was not EDM, like it
It
was
was
just
not called
techno.
EDM. It was called techno, like
It's called
Sandstorm,
techno.
Dota
Yeah,
by Bass Hunter, like Nervo or like Nero, I forget what the name was, but it was
yeah,
called techno.
Nero.
Yeah.
And in reality, like that stuff was like trance, and like the
Yeah.
different, like
Like old
Sandstorm is
school,
trance.
yeah, like
Like
old school, like Tiesto, like Adagio for
Adagio for strings.
strings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was my shit. And like I loved it. Like I remember like the first electronic music song that I ever heard was Dota by Bass Hunter. Like I'm not sure if you know that song,
I
but
know Bass Hunter. I don't know
yeah,
that song.
I'm sure if you heard it, you remember it. But I was watching, like I was a little kid,
Cutting out a little.
video on like people like diving. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
People
Like I was
diving.
watching, yeah, people like diving, like doing trick diving, like off the diving board, and like Bass Hunter was playing, and I was like, "Yo, this shit slaps!" Like as like a little kid, and then I started watching like Tomorrowland like recap videos, like when I was like super little, and then like that's when like EDM kind of cultivated as a scene, like, and then it became EDM music. It was known.
like I don't know when
it was, but
that happened.
there was this because like I know for a fact that it wasn't always EDM.
Yeah. It and I forgot that it was called, like, all of it was techno. And like what I was like, I remember in high school hearing Cascada, dude, hearing Cascada, whatever. I still don't even know. I'm not even sure exactly which it is because there's Cascade, but Cascada or Cascada, whatever it was back in the day. I remember hearing that and being like, what the fuck is this?
And I think there was a moment where like Avicii came out with Levels, and then then it was then it was EDM.
It's definitely around that time, man, because I remember like when Fatboy Slim came out with his stuff right about now, the funk show. But I'm like
or like that other song is like
like all that stuff. Like I think we were only calling it techno then, and really like there was like house music, there was trance, there was hardstyle, there was all that stuff, but we just didn't like. Over here in the States, like in Europe and shit, they knew what the fuck it all was. And here in the States, we had no idea, and it was all called techno to us.
But isn't that funny to think about it? How it wasn't always EDM, and a lot of people like don't even know that.
Yeah, and still now today, how everyone like when we were younger and we called it all techno, the people that are on the outside of EDM call dubstep and house music one genre of EDM, right? Yeah. Like there's so many subgenres in EDM now that we know because we're in the scene. Like it's like Daft Punk, when they put out their albums, like that's the stuff that I just remember being like,
oh yeah,
what is this? And then
I mean, Daft Punk was like groundbreaking. Like, dude, I would sell my soul to go see Daft Punk.
Seriously, dude. Like Daft Punk switched like I forget who I heard say this, but it resonated so deep with me. Like Daft Punk took electronic music and the different crazy sounds and put it together and made it like beautiful.
Yeah,
it made it beautiful music. And but so simply, like I don't know if I don't even know. I don't like putting, I don't want to put Daft Punk in a genre. You know what I mean? Like I can't say, I'm not going to say it's tech house. I'm not going to say it's progressive house. It's not,
It's almost like funk.
yeah, like their shit is funky as hell.
Dude, it's almost disco. Like
Yeah.
that one track that I think it was like the most recent track they just put out. Yeah. Hi. Okay. I'm on a podcast with my boy Ryan. My boy Ryan. My mom says she likes disco.
Hell yeah. Studio 54, right?
I'll be up in a bit. I think we're almost done. Ma, the meatloaf.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we should probably wrap this up in a little bit. I know it's your papa's birthday, and I appreciate you giving me the time to come on here and do this and opening up and freeing yourself and becoming vulnerable, and it's awesome, man. If you're gonna be in the aftershock thing tonight, I'll see you then. But yeah, man, this has been great, and this is why I want to do this, man. Get to know the people behind the music.
Well, I also feel like we're 10 times closer now.
Absolutely, especially with the whole clean and sober stuff, like linking us up, man. Like you have my support. Forget about the music, like on a man-to-man basis. Like I'm here for you with all of this, man. And if you ever need anything, you got my phone number now. You all that. Like you ever need anything, reach out. And I can't wait to hear the full album, man.
And May 2nd, everyone, Edge of Darkness coming out, hot and heavy.
Oh man, so I got to drop this podcast on May 2nd then. That's what I'm gonna put this out. This will be the first one out of all the ones that I've recorded.
Or on Friday, if you can make Friday. I feel like that would be.
This Friday is
the first.
Okay, the day before. You want it the day before, not the day of.
Yeah, it'd be chill.
All right, I'm gonna get this all together, and now I gotta hit up Max Gold and make sure.
Max is the boy.
Yeah, dude, some of the stuff that he's done is awesome. So I wanna pick his brain about all this and get this together as soon as possible. I'm so pumped for you, man. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to.
Dude, it was awesome talking to you. I'm an open book, man. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like any questions anyone's ever asked me, I always try to answer it the best of my ability. But I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not hiding anything. I'm pretty easygoing guy. I just I've got my priorities straight at this point in my life, and I think that's the best way to be. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I think this is awesome. I love what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to be hitting you up a lot. I mean, I know you said you had some connections with, or, knew how to reach out to labels. And I definitely think that's the next step of where I need to be. But I think my production needs to get a little bit better before I even make that jump. But I'm planning on applying to Icon in LA, going out there for a year and definitely taking my stuff, hopefully to the next level of where it needs to be, and see where everything ends up going. So
hell yeah, man. Well, shit, I've been. The LA move is the move. In my
are you guys planning on going out there or not?
Yeah, I mean, Chris's mindset is Miami, and my mindset's LA. But like, we can always connect through this. So like, I don't even know. Who knows? Let's get through this quarantine. Then I'm gonna figure out the next move and all that. And but tell everyone how to get a hold of you, how to reach you. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is ADEY8 _ official. So is my Twitter, I believe, and my SoundCloud is just ADEY8. If you guys have Loom, it's ADEY8 as well, and I believe everything else is just ADEY8. So pretty standard, pretty easy. Shoot me a follow, shoot me a like, shoot me a DM, ask me any questions you want. Like I said, I'm an open book, and I really appreciate you having me, Ryan.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. Now go spend this time with your family. Thank you so much. Everybody, peace, love, unity. Respect.
Hey.
Love you, fam.
I
Thank
love
you.
you, man.
I'll see you later, man.
See ya.